Why was Rishi Parshuram angry with the ruling class? Do you think that DPSP also is an aspiration towards Ram Rajya?
Like, do you agree with this phrase, justice delayed is justice denied?
What do you understand by hard power and soft power?
Can you tell me the difference between rule of law and the due process of law, which you already mentioned?
You had a presentation on mandatory vaccination, the legality of mandatory vaccination, right?
A paper on that, ma'am, yes.
I want you to fight my case and defend mandatory vaccination.
May I come in, sir?
Come in.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Have your seat, Vanaj.
Thank you, sir.
Comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Introduce yourself.
So my name is Vanaj Vidyan. I have graduated in law from National Law University, Lucknow in 2023, subsequent to which I briefly worked at the Supreme Court with a judge as law clerk. This is my first interview, third attempt at the civil services, and I look forward to serving this country to the best of my abilities.
Okay. What's the meaning of Vanaj?
Sir, it is actually a combination of my parents' names, which is Mrs. Vandana and Dr. Pankaj. But it would also mean another name for Rishi Parshuram.
Okay. So Rishi Parshuram is considered one of the incarnations of Vishnu.
Yes, sir, the sixth incarnation.
And which were the first five in proper order?
Sir, I'm unsure if I can recall them in the proper order. I know some of them, Vara Avatar being one.
First?
No, sir, I cannot recall the first one. The Matsya Avatar being one, the Vara Avatar being one. I cannot recall the previous five.
So what is the meaning of Vara?
Vara would be a boar, sir. A
Okay.
boar, yes. The boar that rescued Prithvi from Bhumi from under the sea from a demon king who had trapped her. That's the extent of my knowledge, sir.
Okay. And why was Rishi Parshuram angry with the ruling class?
So Rishi Parshuram was born at a time when the ruling class had become very oppressive. They were subjugating the people around, and that is why he destroyed the most lineages of the Kshatriya clan around 11 times.
So there is a logical doubt. If he eliminated the Kshatriya clan for the first time, how did it sprung up the second time?
So to the extent of my knowledge,
Yeah.
he did not eliminate all the lineages. He left some of the lineages because the Kshatriya clans were also important for ruling as well as protecting the people.
Okay. Okay. That means section after section it became more and more corrupt. So he was compelled to eliminate it 11 times.
Perhaps, sir, yes.
And thereafter emerged the properly trained political class.
Sir, Lord Ram emerged as the next avatar of Vishnuji.
Okay. Until Ram emerged, there was a requirement. Ram
Yes.
onward, Rajya became more ideal. Do you think that DPSP also is an aspiration towards Ram Rajya?
Yes, sir. In a lot of ways, DPSP is a welfare state proposes a welfare state legislation. And that would, in essence, be the essence of a Ram Rajya, sir, where everybody has equal opportunity.
Do you think that recently declared labor codes by the government of India would be consistent with the aspirations of DPSP? Legitimizing hire and fire principle.
Yes. Sir, I would not say we have legitimized the hire and fire principle. What the government has done is increase the threshold for which this government's permission is not required by an industry from 100 to 300 workers, and some other measures of that sort have been taken, sir. Well, prima facie, it may appear that DPSP's objectives are being confronted. In my humble opinion, sir, the DPSPs aspire also for an equality of man and women. That has been done by the labor codes as well. Secondly, sir, in the larger scheme of things, if the labor codes do fructify in their objectives, we will have a much equal society, a labor class that is much more protected. For example, gig workers are now brought under the ambit. So in the larger way, sir, I believe they will achieve the DPSP's objectives despite the increasing of the threshold, because that will help industries to work better and grow larger also.
Okay. What is your understanding about the provisions of Article 24 of the Constitution of India? Are we sincerely trying to achieve the aspiration of the article?
Sir, if I may clarify, Article 24 is the forced labor provision. I cannot recall.
You are LLM, you must recite it.
I absolutely should, sir. I apologize. I'll have to go back and read about it.
Okay, that's one part. That's true. Forced labor.
The other would be conscription, if the article is correct, sir.
Human trafficking is also
Yes. Yes, sir.
prohibition of that.
Sir, I believe we are working very strongly towards against forced labor and human trafficking both. So the NHRC takes out reports consistently, and the number of workers under Begar as well as forced laborers have been falling. Having said that, sir, this still exists. Every year, around 50 to 100 workers are rescued by the NHRC, which shows that the problem continues to remain, sir. With respect to human trafficking, as well as trafficking of women, it's a very unfortunate reality, sir. Prostitution also remains an unfortunate reality. But even against that, sir, the NCW and steps such as Mission Shakti are good steps in that direction, in my opinion.
It is claimed in the media that more than 3 lakh girls disappear from India every year. Do we have any administrative effort to know the figure and to restrict it?
Sir, I believe
most of them say that they are taken to Middle East market.
Sir, I believe I'm not aware of a concentrated administrative effort on this front itself, but the work that NCW and NHRC do, along with the data collection measures that we have, while a census has not been conducted, but NFHS and census taken in the larger scheme of things, I believe they would help in understanding the actual number of disappeared women, sir. But I understand, sir, that there is a requirement for a more concentrated effort, because 3 lakh is not a small number, sir. And the status of these women, how they are taken, the conditions in which they stay there, the government of India has a responsibility to make sure that that doesn't happen. And a consultation with the embassy in the Middle Eastern countries, as well as working with the governments at the head of state level, would help ensure that this problem gets solved.
Fine.
Vanaj,
yes, sir.
You are a student of law. Tell me, do you agree with this phrase, justice delayed is justice denied?
Yes, sir, I fully agree with this phrase.
Okay, so how many pending cases in Indian judicial system?
So there are more than 5 crore cases in all, 80,000 before the Supreme Court, around 60 lakh before the High Courts, and remain before the District Judicial.
So what do you think is the main problem behind these pending cases?
So, number of problems, sir. Firstly, of course, with regard to judicial infrastructure and the lack of judges as well as courts. Secondly, sir, the legal fraternity is also quite responsible for it. Lawyers seek adjournments, and the judicial roster system is such that cases get transferred between benches, which leads to an entire rehearing of the case. And thirdly, sir, judiciary is also a bit more interventionist, which means that...
So when the government or the executive takes matter in its own hands, why it should be a problem? For example, bulldozer justice. So it is instant justice. So why is it problematic?
So 3 reasons for that. Firstly, justice hurried is justice buried. Secondly, sir, there's no justice in bulldozer justice because the due process of law is not followed. The concerns that are raised are regarding selective targeting of people, and instead of following the due process and courts issuing notice, even an opportunity is not provided, which can lead to an innocent person or their kins bearing the brunt.
But can you deny totally the deterrent effect of bulldozer justice? Does it have a deterrent effect?
Sir, I believe the deterrent effect alone cannot be the criteria in a civilized society. Sir, shooting somebody would also be a deterrent effect, but that cannot be the criteria of doing justice for creating.
Okay. Vanaj, tell me, what do you understand by the term ultra vires the constitution? What is its exact meaning?
Sir, ultra vires the constitution would mean something that is outside of the scope of the constitution.
Correct. So recently there was a very interesting case where the Supreme Court 2-judge bench gave a verdict on the governors prescribing timelines. Then the central government went for a presidential reference. Now the opinion has come of a constitutional bench. If it is left to you to decide between which judgment was more progressive, the 2-judge bench verdict prescribing timelines so that the state bills do not get delayed beyond a point, or the constitution bench opinion that the courts do not have the right to prescribe timelines for judges, for governors or president. So what is your view?
Sir, merely looking at more progressive, it might seem that the earlier judgment was more progressive. However, sir, I would broadly agree more with the presidential reference for 3 reasons. Firstly, sir, that it restores the original balance of the constitution. A 2-judges bench cannot alter the constitution without a 5-judges bench order. Secondly, sir, and more importantly, because the constitution does not provide for any balance must come from constitutional amendment from the legislature, not from the judicial side. But thirdly, sir, I do have a qualm with respect to the 5 judges bench judgment, is that in a lot of ways it restores the status quo, except for ordering or providing for a limited judicial review in cases of a governor sitting indefinitely over a legislation. If this was more formalized, sir, I think it would be better. But more or less, sir, I agree with the 5 judges case.
Okay, Vanaj, my final question to you. So these days we are seeing that AI is doing wonders, and there are self-driven cars these days, autonomous cars. So suppose we take a hypothetical situation where a self-driven car gets into an accident. Now, whom do we hold responsible? The car, the company, or the programmer?
So if you look at the American scenario where we have self-driven cars, the rules state that in a self-driven car, somebody must be sitting on the driver's seat, one. And secondly, there are automatic beepings in the self-driven car.
But there are cars like where there is no driver. In fact, there was a recent case in California where a self-driven car was caught taking an illegal U-turn.
Yes, a Waymo being one of those. I understand, sir. If the rules exist that a self-driven car can exist without a driver, in that case, sir, the programmer, not the programmer per se, but the company as a whole must be held responsible first. Secondly, sir, it must be seen whether the person with who the accident has occurred was at fault or was completely not at fault. So the contributory negligence principle, in my opinion, would also apply there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Vanaj,
Yes, sir.
recently the Government of India has renamed some of its buildings and institutions, the latest one being the Seva Tirth, and prior to that Kartavya Path and Kartavya Bhavan.
Yes, sir.
So first of all, tell me that which building has been renamed with these new nomenclatures?
So Seva Tirth is the Prime Minister's office new name. The Kartavya Bhavan, the Kartavya Path is the newer name for the Rajpath. And I cannot recall the Kartavya Bhavan, sir.
Basically, the different offices of the North Block and the South Block moving to the new
Central
offices.
Vista, sir.
Right.
Yes.
So, what is the intention of the government behind these new nomenclatures?
So the Prime Minister has set a target of decolonizing the mentality, and these measures are a step in that direction first, sir. Secondly, sir, by calling them Seva Tirth, we re-establish the ownership of the people over these institutions first. The new name of governor houses from Raj Niwas to Lok Bhavan are also a step in that direction. And thirdly, sir, I believe it is a very necessary step in doing with the recent policy of the Government of India. For example, sir, the North Block and South Block are being made a museum, and the Central Vista is where the offices would exist. That, as per the architect, also conveys a meaning where, because of the hilly structure, the people and its history and culture are now at the top, and the governors are no longer on the top, but on the plain surfaces, just as the people. So
as the Constitution prescribes that they are there to serve the people, the masses.
Sir. Yes. Sir.
Okay, great. So one more conversation on the similar lines. You talked about the Prime Minister referring to the colonial mentality that we need to get ourselves rid of. In the same delivery, he also made a remark with regards to a Macaulay mindset that has kept the people of this country trapped for a long time. So what is this mindset and how we can come out of this mindset?
So the Macaulay mindset refers to a situation or refers to a condition where we believe in English superiority over Indian superiority, or the Western supremacy as it exists. And secondly, we prefer a status quo rather than a more indigenous or a more Indian solution. So the solutions to it are several. Firstly, the government has been working on decolonizing laws, the Indian Penal Code and other legislations becoming BNS, etc. as one step. Secondly, sir, education system would need a more focus on the Indian knowledge system. Thirdly, sir, steps like the Ministry of Ayush have formalized Ayurveda and Siddha and other mechanisms. So people have more trust in them. And fourthly, sir, our educational institutions must conduct research. Sometimes IKS suffers because a lot of unscientific, baseless claims are made, which lead to derailment of the whole process.
Great. Vanaj, one more question from my end. What do you understand by hard power and soft power?
So hard power and soft power in international relations refer to, the hard power would refer to using the military and strength arising out of military for influencing other countries' foreign policy. Soft power, and this is what is primarily followed by India as well, is the use of culture, track to diplomacy, and other such measures to influence other countries' foreign policy and make them our friends or allies, as we may call them.
Okay, so if you were to comment on the healthy mix of this hard power and soft power, as far as India's approach to foreign relations is concerned, do you think India is able to maintain a healthy mix in this regard?
So I think presently our foreign policy is a lot more reliant on soft power. If you look at the beyond the extended neighborhood, but we are moving towards a healthy mixer. The Great Nicobar Tri-Command would be a step in that direction. In Oman, we have a base, so that's another step. But a more balance is required, sir, because if I recall, in Central Asia, in Tajikistan, we had an air base, but that is no longer functional as per recent newspaper reports. So a more balance and more focus on our Navy. Recently, sir, our Navy has been working in South China Sea as well. So things like that project are hard power and soft power as a responsible and an emerging state.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, Vanaj. So there's another meaning to your name, something that's related to forests.
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
It would be somebody who is originated in the forest.
In the forest. So as per the latest Global Forest Survey report, what is India's rank in the total forest area, in terms of total forest area?
I apologize, ma'am. I should have read about it. I'll read upon it.
All right. And the India State of Forest report, who publishes this?
I think the Forest Survey of India publishes the report.
Are you sure? Okay.
No,
is it an
no, I'm
annual?
not sure.
Is it an annual report?
No, ma'am. It's a biannual report. It's published every 2 years.
You also mentioned that you like you have a thing for live proceedings of Supreme Court. You watch live proceedings.
Yes, ma'am.
What application do you use?
Ma'am, live proceedings are there on YouTube for the Constitution
On YouTube.
Bench.
So do you think it's ethical for the judicial, let's say, independence? Is it ethical or some high profile cases might be there?
Ma'am, the live proceedings originated from a Supreme Court verdict itself in Swapnil Tripathi versus Supreme Court of India in 2018. And in my opinion, ma'am, not only is it ethical, it's also necessary in today's time. Firstly, because it increases accessibility to justice, one. Secondly, ma'am, open courts have been a feature of our legal system. So they just take it online using technology.
Then what about the confidentiality of the victim or anybody? People are discussing very discreet matters. What about that?
Ma'am, that is a very legitimate concern. In my understanding, cases of sensitive nature, cases against women, cases against children must not be broadcasted. And when the Supreme Court does not broadcast them, the Supreme Court only broadcasts Constitution Bench matters. However, some high courts broadcast all matters. So that leads to violation of confidentiality.
All right.
And yes.
Okay. Can you tell me the difference between rule of law and the due process of law, which you already mentioned?
Ma'am, rule of law would be a very broad term, which would mean the legal system being the basis of the entire governance of a country. And due process of law means in a particular action that is being taken by the state, the procedure that is provided in the law as well as substantive due procedure must be followed by the state in proceeding with such action.
Okay, who gave the term rule of law?
Ma'am, I believe it is A.V. Dicey who coined that term.
All right, correct. So are you also aware of the 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill?
Ma'am, if I can recall, and please correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
I think it is the Chandigarh Amendment.
No, it's not
Okay.
that. It's okay. So what do we follow in Indian judicial system? Is it innocent until proven guilty or guilty until proven innocent?
Ma'am, it is innocent until proven guilty in most cases, except for some particular cases where the burden of proof is shifted on the accused, such as cases of 113A under Indian Evidence Act, which is presumption in case of violence against married women, dowry prohibition. So if an allegation is made, then it is presumed guilty.
Okay. What is the difference between minimum wage and a floor wage? It has been mentioned in the latest labor codes.
Yes, ma'am. I can attempt.
Sure.
Ma'am, minimum wage would be the least wage that must be paid to every person as per the laws. The floor wage has been introduced in the new labor codes. These would, in my understanding, mean the minimum wages that must exist across all professions, and a higher wage can be prescribed by other state governments over the floor wage. So that would be the extent of my understanding.
Okay. You also mentioned that you like rap.
Yes.
So, can music be used as a new policy tool in today's governance?
Yes, ma'am, it absolutely can. And I would say it even is. For example, every morning I hear the Swachh Bharat music, that is a policy tool. If you go to Connaught Place in Delhi, Delhi police music is being played all the time. Thirdly,
Okay.
ma'am, a lot of times I see music used on social media by governments to tell people about their schemes.
Okay, my last question, just give me two major issues with the cyber crime laws that we have in India.
Ma'am, firstly, that they're outdated. The IT Act is being revised with the Digital India Act, so that will solve it. Secondly, ma'am, they do not per se address the issue of dignity of women, and it is being inferred through 66A and 69A, but 69A primarily. But we need a cybercrime law that also targets women. So this
Alright.
would be.
Thank you, Vanaj.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, Vanaj.
Hello, ma'am.
There is a slight anomaly that I see in your DAF. You've not opted for your home cadre, but your home cadre strangely is not Uttar Pradesh. Your schooling, your college, and your permanent postal address is in Uttar Pradesh. You have somehow chosen Himachal as your home cadre and given it as no preference. What is the reason?
Ma'am, I was fortunate to be born in Himachal Pradesh, so that is how I claimed it. Secondly, ma'am, I've spent most of my life in northern India, and that is where I wish to serve because it would be a larger cadre. But also, ma'am, I felt the most development is what is needed in Uttar Pradesh, so that is why I chose to.
So why not? You have an option to choose your home cadre, right? Why not choose home cadre as Uttar Pradesh and opt it as a yes?
Ma'am, UPSC allowed me to make this choice, so I used that for.
Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, you had a presentation on mandatory vaccination, the legality of mandatory vaccination,
A
right?
paper on that, ma'am, yes.
I want you to fight my case and defend mandatory vaccination.
Ma'am, my research states that if a public health emergency exists where a high mortality rate is there, and secondly, the proportionality test is satisfied in the mandates that are presented, then mandatory vaccination would be defensible, ma'am. It would stand the test of constitutionality.
Are you aware of the Nuremberg Code?
After the Second World War, Nuremberg tribunals, ma'am?
Correct, Hitler's
Yes.
time. What
Yes.
was it about?
Ma'am, the Nuremberg trials were the first trials of that kind in war crimes, where 5 countries, which were the Allied powers, tried the German and the Nazi regime against for war crimes. And today they find a place in Article 38, not 38, in the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, ma'am. So the same crimes today are existing
So
there.
can you relate Nuremberg Code to vaccine governance?
I can attempt, ma'am. The Nuremberg Code also tried the biological crimes and some chemical warfare that was carried on by the Nazi regime on humans without their consent. So if a vaccine mandate exists without following due process of proportionality, etc., then that would also in some ways classify as biological experiments, and in that way I can relate it to the Nuremberg trials, ma'am.
Exactly. So that will completely deny any form of mandatory vaccination. Alternatively, it is coercive and it is kind of imposing a pressure on the kind of liberty that we talk about today. So under this scenario, how can you defend mandatory vaccination?
Ma'am, firstly, I would like to clarify that there are 2 kinds of vaccine mandates. Firstly, one where we directly ask people to get vaccinated. Secondly, and this was a model followed during COVID, when we deny certain public community privileges to people if they are not vaccinated, such as not being able to go to cinema halls or not being able to go to markets. So in both of these cases, ma'am, the second one requires a lower threshold, firstly. And secondly, ma'am, if a public health emergency exists where my not getting vaccinated can threaten the life or liberty, life or personal liberty of another person, then mandatory vaccination can be permissible. Otherwise, it cannot be, ma'am.
Who is an ideal mediator?
Ma'am, an ideal mediator would be one who speaks less, facilitates, and lets both the parties come to a solution on their own, and facilitates the process as a whole, ma'am.
Can you recollect a current contemporary case where mediation was used and has given a historic judgment?
Ma'am, the Ram Mandir case comes to mind. The mediation did not fructify, but the court referring the matter to mediation first shows the importance and the growing emergence of mediation in India.
What were the features of the mediators used in this case?
Ma'am, I can attempt my best. Firstly, ma'am, a saint was there. Secondly, ma'am, Mr. Sriram Panchu was there, who is a very renowned mediator. The third mediator, I cannot recall, ma'am.
Sri Ravi Shankar ji was there as a mediator.
Sri Ravi Shankar ji, yes.
Okay. So my last question to you is, you were born in the year 2000. It is alternatively nomenclatured as Y2K. What is Y2K?
I should have known that, ma'am. I have heard the term and its relevance in pop culture, but I do not know what it precisely means.
So it's a bug. Y2K is
Okay.
actually a bug. Since you are born in 2000, initially the calendar dating would just use the last two numbers, the digits, as the date of birth. So there was a fiasco that was created during that time, because 00 could have been misinterpreted as 1900 as well.
Oh, wow.
So please read about it.
Thank you for that information, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you,
That's it.
Vanaj,
Yes, sir.
who was Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia?
So Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia was a freedom fighter and a socialist leader. So he gave 7 socialist principles. Secondly, sir, he took a pledge to always be in the opposition and never take a ruling position. And thirdly, sir, he's considered the ideological guru and is often given homage by various socialist parties and ideologies existing today.
So, do you think Lohiyavad is losing its relevance today in the environment of UP or regionally in North India?
Sir, politically, everybody appreciates Dr. Lohia, so that's one. But secondly, sir, the socialist tendencies that Dr. Lohia proposed are in some ways being lost in the fast economic and fast growth that we are seeing today, in the capitalism that we see today. But sir, the broad principles that he proposed, which were integrity and serving the nation, dedication to public service, these remain relevant and will forever remain relevant, sir.
Okay, my last question. The modern Hindu code is inspired more by Daya Bhaga principles or Mitakshara principles?
So the modern Hindu code gives more relevance to women's rights. And one of these two schools gives more relevance to women's rights, sir, but I cannot recall which exact one. I'll read upon it, sir.
Okay, fine. Your interview is over, Vanaj. You may go now.
Thank you for your time, sir. Privileged to be here. Thank you, ma'am.
Come in, come in. Have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Your interview is on 12th
Yes, sir.
December.
Yes.
So you are left with another 3 days.
2 days.
2 days. So what is your discovery about this session? Have you discovered anything in relation to further improve your personality?
Yes, sir. I need to read up a bit about core law, a bit about myself, like Rishi Parshuram and things of that nature. Otherwise, sir, I believe I'm confident in my mind about how I will do. I'll just read up and I think I'll do better, sir.
Yeah, that's our opinion. Almost everybody was of the opinion that you are already prepared. Of course, in a discussion of half an hour, somebody would find something where you are not factually prepared, perhaps. Because your association is with Lohia, so it might engage people towards socialism and DPSPs. So that is one likelihood domain. And because you are wearing certain wristbands.
They will not be there, sir.
Okay, वो नहीं रहेंगे. ठीक है. So Lohia was a person who did not believe in Marxism in totality. He did not believe that we should completely divorce politics from religion. And he did not believe that casteism is more dangerous than class division. Rather, he believed that class division is more dangerous.
In class division.
He enunciated his views in his famous book, Wheels of History. So, maybe he's having some originality. That's one. Because you are LLM and you have opted law, so very many questions can be there on different dimensions of law. We didn't ask question on labor code, but that could be a potential question. Jurisprudence is another important thing, because after LLB, one person is not expected to be very comfortable in juridical thought, but LLM means you have become now master of law. So these are important domains because you are also cleared GRF. So you are thoroughly prepared with law and you aspire to become administrator. So how a law graduate and postgraduate can help improve law and order situation? Why law and order remains a perpetual challenge in India?
Yes, sir.
So these are the potential things. Apart from that, current economic events, our agreement with Russia, your negotiation with USA, our recent deal with UK, from economic domain, because this repo rate keeps coming into news, RBI keeps adjusting. So maybe they can ask these questions which are in news. Environment is always a concern, and particularly in this season, entire North India is facing pollution.
Yes, sir.
So maybe National Green Tribunal, the law which is governing the behavior of Green Tribunal, why our green governance particularly is not effective. Citizens are helpless everywhere in Kanpur, Lucknow and Varanasi and Delhi. They have to face pollution 2 months, 3 months. Even Supreme Court is facing helplessness.
Yes,
कि
sir.
क्या करे यार, गैस चैम्बर बन गया है. So this could be potential thing. Wherever we tested your understanding, you articulated your understanding effectively. Even the domain where you are not factually ready, you conducted yourself nicely. So overall personality is impressive. We hope that you will be getting one of the best scores this year. And these are just a small suggestion. If you can add these further in the given 3-4 days, maybe 2 days, it will be even better.
I'll try my best, sir.
Whatever the status even today, you will be performing well.
I'll try my. Thank you so much, sir.
Your setting is good, dress is good, everything is almost in
Thank you, sir.
perfect. All the best.
Thank you, sir. One couple of questions from my answer. With respect to the home state thing, what should I say, ma'am? What would be a good answer?
What was your real reason?
Ma'am, of course, the insider and outsider vacancy, being eligible for the outsider vacancy, and also that I am actually eligible for opting Himachal as my home state. So that
Yes, you are, because that's your birth
Yes.
place of birth,
Yes.
right? So you can, instead of saying that I've been brought up in North India, you could say that Himachal has constituted a major part of my childhood or something like that. So that is something I would relate more as a home.
But then putting it as a 0. So how do I explain that? That why I'm not opting for my home state?
I think this was a discussion for before,
Yes.
but as of now, the thing that would probably defend your case is your primacy to serve in Uttar Pradesh and
Okay.
having it as a first preference, because it's a state which needs more of your attention.
Okay. Got it. So along the lines of what I said only.
Similar, yes.
Yes. And was the quantity, like was the volume of what I was saying too much? Is like were my answers very long, or were they okayly, like adequately length?
One member was of the view that sometimes it looks that you are crossing the border of confidence, sometimes going in the region of a little bit arrogance. But I don't think you should unnecessarily bother about it. That's, I think, your natural style.
Perhaps.
And people discern it. That is your natural style of speech.
So answers की length बहुत ज़्यादा तो नहीं थी. Was it okay?
Yes, मुझे लगता है ठीक है. But if you can make it shorter, sometimes they don't have that much patience.
Yes.
तो जहाँ possible है थोड़ा short कर सकते हैं, लेकिन बुरा नहीं लग रहा था, because you are manufacturing quality statements. The content was good. अगर hollow sentences लोग बोलने लगते हैं ना, जिसमें कुछ खास काम की बस beating around bush, तब बुरा लगता है. But your statements were mostly meaningful statements.
ठीक है sir. And so largely was my attitude towards the board okay in terms of humility and respect towards the board?
हाँ, facial expressions में politeness थी. मैंने कहा voice tone में थोड़ा सा, चूँकि आपका tone ऐसा है, तो शुरू में 1-2 मिनट के लिए लगता है कि कहीं arrogance तो नहीं है, लेकिन जब लोग sync हो जाते हैं तो ठीक है, your natural style. तो मुझे नहीं लगता है कि कोई noticeable ऐसा दिख रहा था.
ठीक है सर.
क्योंकि आप उसको जब मॉडिफाई करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो आपका रिदम डिस्टर्ब होगा,
जी सर,
तो उसको ज़्यादा तवज्जो मत दीजिए.
ठीक है सर, दैट वुड बी ऑल.
ऑल द बेस्ट.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.